Hey, what's up? Today I want to talk about attunement. Attunement is basically just listening to your experience in any given moment. And it can also include listening to someone else's experience in any given moment who you might be interacting with. But I think it's important always to first be aware of your own experience and then also be aware of another person's experience so that you don't kind of lose yourself in another person. And actually, I really like the concept of attunement, and I think it's a really great kind of almost alternative to speaking about presence, for example. Because being present is also being aware of everything. But I think what happens in my experience of like presence, for example, is that I can get a pretty rigid idea of what my experience should be like. Like, for example, I shouldn't have thoughts in my head, or I need to be super serene or something. Which I'm not saying that's necessarily what presence is, but for me, attunement is more about like compassionate listening to my experience, which is probably the same thing that presence is getting at anyway, but it's, for me at the moment at least, since I've been thinking about it this morning, it feels like a really helpful distinction for me. Because of course, I mean, if you've been kind of into the whole presence spirituality space for a while, you'll probably be familiar with the ideas that, it's not about having a particular intention, presence. It's not about you need to be one way or another way. It's more separate from that. And I think that's the beautiful thing about attunement. It really highlights that, because if I'm trying to attune to someone or to myself, I'm really not trying to change them or trying to change the way I am. I'm just trying to be there with it, which ideally is what presence is as well, but sometimes we think we have to be a particular way.